Have you felt something strange happening with your body lately? Maybe something you noticed and then just shrugged off, thinking it was nothing. Or maybe even feeling a little bit silly or overly worried about it. It's easy to do, isn't it? We get older, and our bodies start doing new things, or old things change in unexpected ways. And sometimes, these changes feel unsettling. A new ache here, a weird sensation there, something that just wasn't like that before. And in those quiet moments, a fear can creep in. We worry that these little changes are big signs, that they mean something serious is wrong. Maybe even that we're on a fast track towards something we don't want to think about. It's a painful reality of aging that not only do our bodies change, but we often feel isolated with those changes, unsure if they're normal or a red flag. We might not even feel comfortable talking about these particular things because they seem too stirring. Du stato tahatu niku dorns. My di zao te taratana tai. My nadur. Too strange or too embarrassing. But what if I told you that many of these seemingly strange occurrences aren't necessarily signs of something terrible? What if they're just aging, common, normal, albeit rarely discussed? Parts of getting older. In this video, we're going to look at 4 of these aging symptoms that are incredibly common, but that no one seems to talk about. We'll explore why they might be happening and, most importantly, what simple, practical things you can do to understand and manage them. These aren't discussed enough, and knowing about them can take away a lot of unnecessary fear and anxiety. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you. Let's start with one that can be quite unnerving because it involves our senses. Those things we rely on so much to experience the world around us. Have you ever smelled something that wasn't there? Maybe a faint whiff of smoke when there's no fire. Or perhaps a strange chemical odor that seems to disappear when you try to pinpoint it. Or maybe you've tasted something odd in your mouth. A metallic tang or a bitter flavor. Even when you haven't eaten or just finished brushing your teeth. This experience, sometimes called phantosmia, phantom smells, or phantogeusia, phantom tastes, is something that many people notice as they get older, but it's rarely mentioned in typical discussions about aging. When it happens, it can be genuinely alarming. Our minds immediately jump to serious conclusions because our senses feel like they're playing tricks on us. And we worry it means something is going terribly wrong in our brain or nervous system. We think, is this a stroke? Is this something awful? And because it feels so weird and subjective, like trying to describe a dream, we often don't even bring it up to our doctor or our family. We just quietly worry about it. But the truth is, changes in how we perceive smells and tastes are incredibly common as we age. And experiencing these phantom sensations can sometimes be a part of that broader change. Our olfactory receptors, those tiny cells in our nose that detect smells, and our taste buds on our tongue, naturally decline in number and sensitivity over time. The nerves that carry these signals to our brain also undergo age-related changes. Sometimes, these phantom sensations aren't a sign of something severe, but rather just the brain misinterpreting or creating signals, because the usual, clear input from the nose and tongue isn't as reliable as it used to be. Think of it like an old radio sometimes picking up static or faint, non-existent signals when the main broadcast is weak. Our sensory systems are complex, and as they age, they can sometimes produce these static experiences. Minor issues like dry mouth, which is also more common with age, or certain medications, can affect taste perception and sometimes lead to phantom tastes. Nasal passages that are a bit drier or more prone to minor irritation can also sometimes play a role in phantom smells. Sinus issues, even very mild ones, you might not notice otherwise, can sometimes trigger these sensations. The important thing to understand is that while it's always wise to mention new or persistent symptoms to your doctor just to rule out anything serious, in many cases, these phantom smells and tastes are benign, temporary glitches in an aging sensory system. They don't necessarily mean you're having a stroke or have a serious neurological disease. Many people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond experience these sensations from time to time. I've heard from so many people who felt immense relief just knowing they weren't alone. That this weird thing wasn't a personal sign of doom, but a shared, albeit unspoken, part of aging. So, what can you do if you experience this first? Don't panic. Acknowledge the sensation for what it is. A strange smell or taste that doesn't seem real. Try to notice if there's a pattern. Does it happen at a certain time of day? After eating something specific? When you're tired, sometimes identifying a potential trigger, even if it's just fatigue, can help. Keeping your nasal passages moist, perhaps with a simple saline spray, can sometimes help if dryness is a factor. Staying well hydrated is always important for overall oral and nasal health. Focusing on pleasant, real smells and tastes can sometimes help redirect your brain's attention. For example, smelling fresh coffee or flowers, or enjoying a truly flavorful meal. If it's persistent, disruptive, or accompanied by other symptoms like dizziness or vision changes, absolutely talk to your doctor. They can check for underlying causes like sinus infections, dental issues, or medication side effects, which can sometimes contribute. But knowing that this can simply be a quirk of an aging system can provide significant peace of mind. It's one of those things our bodies do that isn't linear or predictable. And while it's not exactly pleasant, understanding it changes it from a terrifying mystery into a manageable oddity. It's not you dying. It's just your amazing, complex body continuing its journey through time, sometimes with a few unexpected sensory detours. A lot of what causes us anxiety in aging isn't the big, dramatic stuff we fear, but these small, weird things that we don't have context for. Let's move on to something else that can feel different as you get older. Something related to how comfortable you feel in your own skin, specifically regarding temperature. Moving on to something that affects how comfortable you feel day to day. Something that can make deciding what to wear a bit more complicated than it used to be. Have you noticed that you feel the cold more than you used to? Maybe you're reaching for a cardigan indoors when everyone else seems perfectly comfortable. Or you need extra blankets on your bed, even in a warm room. Conversely, maybe you find yourself overheating much more easily, feeling flushed and uncomfortable even with minimal exertion, or when the room temperature slightly increases. This increased sensitivity to temperature changes, feeling either colder or warmer more intensely than before, is another one of those quiet, often unspoken, aging symptoms, like the phantom smells. It's not usually a sign of serious illness, though thyroid issues, for example, can affect temperature regulation and are worth discussing with a doctor, but rather a common physiological shift that happens as we age. Our bodies become less efficient at regulating temperature. There are several reasons for this. Our metabolism tends to slow down slightly as we get older, and metabolism is essentially our body's internal heater. When it's less active, we generate less heat. We also tend to lose some of the insulating layer of subcutaneous fat beneath our skin, which makes us feel the external temperature more acutely. Changes in circulation can also play a role. Blood flow might not be as robust to our extremities, leading to cold hands and feet. Furthermore, the part of our brain responsible for thermoregulation, the hypothalamus, may not work quite as effectively at detecting temperature changes and triggering the body's responses, like shivering or sweating. The skin itself also changes. It becomes thinner and less able to retain heat. So, what you're feeling isn't just you being overly sensitive or getting old in a dismissive sense. It's a real physical change in how your body interacts with its environment. Experiencing this can be frustrating. You might feel uncomfortable in situations where you used to be fine, like drafty restaurants or overheated shops. You might worry that feeling cold all the time means you have poor circulation or another health problem, or that sudden hot flashes, even years after menopause, mean something is still off. Hormonally, though hormonal changes are definitely a factor in hot flashes at any age, the good news is, while you can't reverse these age-related changes in temperature regulation, you can absolutely manage their effects and stay comfortable. The key is layering. Wearing multiple thin layers allows you to adjust your clothing easily throughout the day as your environment or activity level changes. This is much more effective than wearing one thick layer. For cold sensitivity, focus on keeping your core warm and pay attention to your extremities with warm socks, slippers, and fingerless gloves if needed indoors. For heat sensitivity, wear breathable fabrics like cotton, stay hydrated with cool water, and try to cool down your pulse points wrists, neck with a cool cloth. Understanding your personal triggers is also important. Do you get cold easily when sitting still for a long time? Do you overheat in stuffy rooms? Knowing this allows you to anticipate and prepare. Gentle exercise, like walking, can help improve circulation over time, which can make you feel warmer generally. Making small adjustments to your home environment, like using throws-on chairs or adjusting the thermostat a degree or two, can make a big difference. Remember, feeling temperature extremes more intensely is a common age-related change, not a sign that your body is failing. It's just adapting. And you can adapt your habits right alongside it to maintain your comfort and well-being. Don't be afraid to dress differently from others around you if that's what keeps you comfortable. Your comfort is what matters. Now, let's talk about something that can feel very personal and can cause a lot of anxiety because it involves basic bodily functions that we usually take for granted. Changes in bladder and bowel habits. Next, let's talk about something that many people experience but few openly discuss, leading to quiet worry and sometimes significant lifestyle adjustments. This is about changes in bladder and bowel habits. Now, I'm not just talking about incontinence, which is a specific issue that definitely needs medical attention and management. I'm talking about less dramatic, but still noticeable changes that happen as we age. Have you found that when you need to go to the bathroom, especially for urination, you suddenly need to go right now? That feeling of a gradual urge is replaced by a sudden, intense signal that sends you scrambling. Or perhaps you've noticed changes in how frequently you need to go, either more often during the day or needing to get up more during the night on the bowel side. Maybe things are less predictable than they used to be. You might experience periods of constipation followed by looser stools, or just find that your regular pattern has shifted significantly, causing discomfort or anxiety. These changes in the urgency and predictability of elimination are incredibly common with aging, but because they involve bathroom habits, they're often not talked about, leading people to feel isolated or worried that something is seriously wrong. Our body's plumbing systems, just like other systems, undergo age-related changes. 4. The bladder. The muscle wall can become less elastic, meaning it can't hold as much urine comfortably, and it may contract more suddenly without much warning, leading to that urgent feeling. The signals between the bladder and the brain can also become less precise. In men, an enlarged prostate is a very common cause of increased urinary frequency and urgency because it presses on the urethra and bladder. In women, changes after menopause can affect the pelvic floor muscles and the lining of the urinary tract, contributing to urgency and frequency. For the bowels, the muscles in the intestinal wall can become slightly less efficient at moving waste along, and nerve signals that control bowel movements can also change. Digestion itself can slow down slightly. Lifestyle factors, like changes in diet, hydration levels, activity levels, and medications which many older adults take, can all significantly impact both bladder and bowel function. While pain, bleeding, or a sudden, drastic change should always be checked by a doctor. Experiencing increased urgency, frequency, or less predictable patterns without these other symptoms is often just a normal part of how our elimination systems age. The worry comes from not knowing this is common. People start planning their outings around bathroom availability, limiting fluids, which can actually make things worse, or feeling embarrassed. But understanding that this is a common physiological change can empower you to manage it proactively. For bladder urgency and frequency, strategies include timed voiding, where you try to go to the bathroom at set intervals rather than waiting for the urge. Gradually increasing the time between visits. Pelvic floor exercises. Kegels can strengthen the muscles that help control urination. Avoiding bladder irritants like caffeine, alcohol, and artificial sweeteners can also make a big difference for some people. Staying properly hydrated is important, Dehydration can actually concentrate urine and make urgency worse. 4 bowel changes. The cornerstones are diet, hydration, and movement. Increasing fiber intake gradually through fruits, vegetables, and whole grains helps regulate bowel movements. Drinking enough water is crucial for keeping stool soft. Regular physical activity stimulates the bowel muscles. Establishing a regular time for bowel movements and not rushing can also help train your body. Again, these aren't signs that your body is falling apart, but rather that its systems are changing. By acknowledging these changes and implementing simple, consistent strategies, you can regain a sense of control and reduce the anxiety they cause. It's about understanding that your body is just navigating a new phase and finding ways to support it effectively. You don't have to suffer in silence or let these changes limit your life. And finally, let's talk about something that impacts your confidence in simply moving through the world. Something that can make you think twice about navigating stairs or uneven ground. Finally, let's talk about something that impacts your confidence in getting around. Something that can feel subtle at first, but can definitely make you more aware of your movements. This is about subtle changes in balance. Have you noticed that you're a little less steady on your feet than you used to be? Maybe you find yourself reaching for a railing more often, or you feel a bit wobbly on uneven sidewalks or stepping over thresholds. It's not necessarily that you're falling, or even that you feel dizzy, which is a different issue, but rather that your sense of stability, of being firmly planted on the ground, feels slightly different. This change can be disconcerting. You might start feeling more cautious, maybe even avoiding certain activities or places because you're worried about tripping or losing your balance. Like the other symptoms we've discussed, this isn't talked about enough, and it can lead to quiet fear and a feeling of vulnerability. We rely so much on our balance to move freely and confidently, and when it feels compromised, it shakes that confidence. But just like the other changes, subtle shifts in balance are incredibly common as we age and are often due to a combination of normal age-related factors, not necessarily a sign of an impending major fall or serious neurological issue. Several systems contribute to our balance. Our inner ear, the vestibular system, our vision. Our proprioception, our body's sense of where it is in space, based on signals from muscles and joints, and our muscle strength and reflexes. As we get older, all of these systems can undergo changes that, individually, might be minor, but together can affect our overall stability. The tiny structures in our inner ear can change. Our vision might become less sharp, or we might experience more glare sensitivity, which affects our ability to see obstacles and judge distances. The nerve signals from our muscles and joints that tell our brain about our body's position might not be as fast or accurate. Muscle mass and strength naturally decline with age, if not actively maintained, particularly in the legs and core, which are crucial for stability. Our reflexes, the speed at which our body reacts to a stumble, can also slow down slightly. So, feeling a little less steady isn't a personal failing. It's a cumulative effect of normal aging processes across multiple bodily systems. The good news is that our balance system is highly adaptable, and we can do a lot to improve or maintain it. Awareness is the first step. Simply noticing that your balance feels different allows you to be more mindful of where you're stepping and what you're doing. Strength training is hugely beneficial, especially exercises that focus on the legs, hips, and core. Stronger muscles provide better support and stability. Simple balance exercises, like standing on one foot while holding onto a counter and gradually increasing the time, or doing heel-to-toe walks like on a tightrope, can help train your body to be more stable. Tai Chi and Qigong are also excellent practices for improving balance and coordination. Making your home environment safer is also key. Removing tripping hazards like loose rugs, ensuring good lighting in hallways and stairwells, and installing grab bars in the bathroom if needed. Wearing supportive shoes with non-slip soles makes a big difference compared to flimsy slippers or worn-out sneakers. If you feel your balance is significantly worse or you've had falls, it's essential to talk to your doctor to rule out underlying medical conditions and discuss fall prevention strategies. But for those subtle changes, these lifestyle adjustments and simple exercises can be very effective. It's empowering to know that you're not just passively losing balance, but that you can actively work to maintain and even improve it. Recognizing these shifts for what they often are, common age-related changes, takes away the fear and allows you to focus on practical steps. So, we've talked about those phantom smells and tastes that can pop up unexpectedly, the way your body seems to handle temperature differently, those sudden urgent rushes to the bathroom and shifts in your bowel habits, and noticing you feel a little less steady on your feet. These aren't the glamorous or widely discussed parts of aging. Are they? We hear about wrinkles and gray hair, maybe joint aches or needing reading glasses. But these other things, the weird sensory stuff, the temperature sensitivity, the changes in how our plumbing works, the shifts in balance, they happen just as often, if not more. And because they're not talked about, they can feel scary and isolating when they do. You might have experienced one, or two, or maybe all of these, and worried silently about what they meant. The important takeaway from our conversation today is this: these aren't necessarily signs that things are fundamentally falling apart, or that you're on a steep decline. They are often just the normal, albeit sometimes inconvenient or strange, ways our bodies change as we accumulate years, just like needing glasses or finding that late nights are harder than they used to be. These are common physiological shifts. Recognizing them, understanding why they might be happening in simple terms, and knowing that there are practical, everyday things you can do to manage them, takes away so much of the fear and anxiety. It shifts the narrative from "something is wrong with me" to "my body is aging, and here's how I can support it." And that's something that will surprise you. I mentioned at the start, it's exactly this how incredibly common these symptoms are. You are absolutely not alone in experiencing them. And how many simple, everyday strategies, like adjusting your clothing layers, staying hydrated, practicing simple balance exercises, or tweaking your diet, can make a real difference in managing them and improving your quality of life. You don't need complex solutions for many of these common changes. Awareness, understanding, and small, consistent habits are powerful tools. Aging brings changes, yes, but it also brings wisdom, resilience, and the opportunity to know and care for yourself in deeper ways. Don't let the fear of the unknown or the silence around these common symptoms steal your joy or limit your life. Embrace these years, understand your body's journey, and focus on what you can do to feel your best. Have you experienced any of these symptoms? Or maybe others that felt strange or scary because you didn't know if they were normal? Sharing your experiences in the comments below is so valuable. It helps others who are feeling the same way know they aren't alone and creates a supportive community. If this video helped you feel a little less worried and a little more in control of your own aging journey, please give it a like. It helps this information reach more people who might be silently worrying. And if you want to keep learning how to navigate aging with confidence, understanding, and peace of mind, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We've got so much more practical advice and support to share. Live your best life at every age.